This is Matt Vervoice from La La Land Records, and you've entered the La La Land Lounge on GeekCast Radio.
Hello and welcome to the La La Land Lounge here on the GeekCast Radio Network. This is episode 8 of the La La Land Lounge. I'm, of course, TFG1 Mike. Joining me is Steve Megatron. Hello.
Hello.
Joining us also is Doug Abel from Talkin About My Generation. Hello.
Oh, hello, sir.
And this time around, we're going to be... Doug's only here for a portion of this recording, considering that he is still watching Arrow Season 2. So there's that. But we're going to be here talking about DC's Legends of Tomorrow Season 1 score from Blake Neely. And then after that, Steve and I are going to come back and talk about Arrow Season 4 score. So there is that. Funny story. When I was out in California, I always put my... Once La La Land sends me discs, I always put them on my computer. So I already had these on here. So I think it was like right after. Yeah, it was right after Christmas. Like right before I came back. I'm like, Doug, here, Merry Christmas. And I gave you the Season 1 and the Season 4 scores. What do we just briefly think of overall? Now, also when I was out in California, Doug and I actually, because he hadn't watched all of it yet, I actually rewatched Legends Season 1 with you. So after watching Season 1, what were your initial impressions of the show? Because I know initially you had said you weren't that interested in it.
Yeah, and here's the thing with it is that, like, I watched the first two, maybe 3 episodes, and I'm kind of like, oh, God, this has got to get better. It just seemed to drag a little bit.
Mm-hmm. It's because of Vandal Savage.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was pretty much the whole thing, is I kept watching Vandal Savage, and I'm thinking, my God, where have I seen this guy before? He just looks like some really bad Russian, just like Russian spy kind of thing that we'd put up against Trump. I don't know. That was what I was thinking.
I knew you were going to go there.
Sorry.
Oh.
I had to. I'm sorry. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
I watched it. I kind of thought that, and then it started to get better, and we started seeing development, and I really started liking it right around Magnificent 8.
Mm-hmm.
That episode with Jonah Hex, and I was kind of like, yeah, this was worth watching it for.
Absolutely. What about you, Steve? What were your initial... Because we all know Steve and I enjoy Flash and we enjoy Supergirl, and to some certain extent we enjoy Arrow. But when Legends first started, what were your initial opinions?
Well, to begin with, I was wondering why we needed it. And then as it progressed, I mean, I got to like the misfit band of heroes, and them trying to cohesively fit into a team. And as the season progressed, it got better as they started winding down the plot with the Time Masters and with Vandal Savage. And once they got rid of Vandal Savage, the show infinitely gets better.
Oh, yeah.
Even though Season 2 begins with a basically all recycled Arrow and Flash characters.
Well, okay, yes, you're
villains. For villains.
You're right. Yes, in Season 2 we do have Damien Dark and Malcolm Merlin, but again, they're putting and Eobard Thawne, but they're putting a fresh spin on them. Because of the whole time travel thing, they're doing something new and different with them. It's not just them going up against Flash, Arrow, or whoever. So I don't mind that. I think that's kind of great and kind of interesting, because what's interesting to me about the Legion of Doom in Season 2 is that between Eobard, Malcolm, and Damien, they all three have different reasons for being a team, or having the team up that they have. So Season 1 for me, I've watched it several times. I think when I was out in California, I think it was like the third or fourth time I had seen the season for season 1, and I still thoroughly enjoy the storytelling. I enjoy the team coming together and seeing the different reluctances and seeing the way that Martin handles Jax and just seeing the whole thing like that. Like Doug said, Magnificent 8 is by far one of the best episodes of season 1.
Which, of course, is kind of odd because, you stop and think about how they had the Jonah Hex movie with DC.
I don't think about that at all.
Well, here's the thing is that I saw the Jonah Hex movie and I'm like, oh, God. The writing was bad. Josh Brolin couldn't save it. And then I heard that they were doing a Jonah Hex episode, and I'm like, well, it can't be any worse than the movie. And then I was pleasantly surprised and was like, yes, this is what it should have been. And
exactly. Exactly. Green Lantern and Jonah Hex do not exist. And DC Films at this point, there's no saving the DC film universe. Anyway.
I have a topic on that later, but we'll talk about it off.
Yeah. So, Season 1, Legends of Tomorrow, La La Land Records, DC, Warner Brothers, and Water Tower Music present acclaimed composer Blake Neely's original score to the first season of the hit television series DC's Legends of Tomorrow, starring Brandon Routh, Arthur Darvill, Katie Lotz, and Victor Garber. Composer Neely expands his DC musical landscape with another rich and exciting original score that wittingly complements this thrilling series of time-traveling superheroes and villains, a spin-off show from the wildly successful series of Arrow and The Flash. Neely has assembled the finest musical moments from the first season, resulting in a knockout collection of cues fans will love. Produced by Neely and mastered by Stephen Marsh, this is a limited edition release of 3,000 units featuring notes from the composer and heroic art design by Dan Goldwasser. So this release for La La Land has 27 tracks, total album time of 76 minutes and 48 seconds. And the thing with this is that I know a lot of people were pissed with The Flash Season 2, Supergirl Season 1, and Legends Season 1. Because all of these three, it is said in the liner notes and the note from Blake Neely on the disc that he went through and picked out what he felt to be the best cues, the best moments from the season musically. And he says in these liner notes that, we had, in 23 1-hour episodes or whatever, there's 23 hours of music, or you know what I mean? So there's so much music that you can't put everything in. Do I wish these were not best ofs and would go by, episode score, kind of like how the La La Land Records BTAS stuff is done? Yeah, sure, but I'm perfectly fine with this, especially with the Legends disc, because it pretty much has a beginning and an ending, more so than The Flash Season 2 or Supergirl Season 1. There are 27 tracks in total. We start with London 2166 / Set a Course, and it basically just kicks your ass as soon as you hit play on this first track. It starts off really, really strong, and then it goes into a few softer notes and things like that. I would have to say probably halfway through the middle of track 3, which is Boarding the Wave Rider / Back in Time. Halfway through that track, all the way to the end, is my favorite piece of music off this entire thing. It's just this ramped up, ba-dum, bump, 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 and I just absolutely love that. There are other tracks on this that I really enjoy, but Doug, when you were listening back to this, what caught your ear?
Well, obviously, again, Magnificent Eight. I just happened to be going through it, and I kind of heard it, and I went, that kind of just sets the tone for that. Obviously, it's that Western twang, the spaghetti Western type of sound, and I went, this just fits so well.
Mm-hmm.
The nuclear missile sale, you kind of have this harsh...
That one freaks me out.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that's kind of supposed to, because they're thinking about, like, he's selling nuclear missiles to the Russians.
Well, yes, okay, but the track, the nuclear missile sale, that would be track 5. It's 3 minutes and 15 seconds, okay? In the very beginning of that, I would say through the first minute and a half, there's this the only thing I can call it is a reverberation, or something that vibrates or reverbs off of some instrument that they're using, that it makes it sound like somebody's jumping up and down and the record is scratching.
Yes.
Remember, everybody should know at this point, if you're 30 years old or older, you should know you're not supposed to jump when your grandparents are playing their records, because the records are going to scratch. And I swear to God, in nuclear missile sale, in track 5 on this, that's what they did. They used a record scratch in this, because every time I've listened to this in the last 2 or 3 days, I had to pause it twice to make sure that it wasn't something else. Like, what the hell is that noise? Who's scratching records over here? What else were you going to say, Doug?
I was going to say, Jax meets his father, Mick meets himself. That was kind of a nice...
Mm-hmm.
I like that because of just the tone of it that was coming through.
Mm-hmm.
There was one, and this is me being a little nitpicky, and it was partially because I was just trying to refresh myself a little bit with the music before we started here, so I was just kind of looking through some of it real quick. Almost all of the songs kind of start with this soft lead-in, almost every single one of them, which...
Except for track 1.
Yeah, but I mean, like, everything else does the soft lead-in to it, and then all of a sudden it builds, which is good, and I guess you want that if you're going to have this as a background music to the scenes that are going on, but at the same time, I'm like, damn, couldn't we just get, like, thrown right into half of this stuff? That was my only nitpick, really, for it all.
What about you, Steve? What were you thinking as you're listening back to these 27 tracks?
Well, one is trying to remember the episodes, but because I haven't seen season 1 since it aired, so it was a little bit weird to try and remember what exactly they went to. But no, I mean, I enjoyed the fact that some of my favorite tracks are like the Who's Up for More, like, because it's got the kind of that commercial break type of, when they're ending the show.
Yep.
I love that music, how it ends.
Yep.
And then they play some of that at the beginning, obviously, but the Savage Meteor ritual fight was pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The at the Oculus where Captain Cold
makes his sacrifice.
Yep, that's a pretty twisted clip there, and I don't know. I like the London 2166 set of chords just because it's along the same lines, but.
Yeah.
No, the nuclear track, I do get what you're saying, but it sounds more in the vein of when you have a CD that's been scratched. and it skips on your CD player.
Okay, yeah, I was using records, but yeah, you're right. It's still a record scratch either way. You're right. It is more of a CD sound than an actual record, but yeah, track 5 may be the only one I don't like. In the future, I may skip that one as much as I do enjoy it, but like I said, it does freak me the hell out. I also enjoyed Adam Goes Inside to Save Kendra, which is the scene where they basically journey to the center of Kendra. They interspace the episode where he has to shrink down and go inside her body and destroy the things that are killing her. Things get batty / left behind that, they're really trying to get Batman into this show, and it's never going to happen.
Because Gotham's going to kill.
Not just Gotham, the whole DC film universe is going to... I bet you if any of the Batfleck stuff actually happens, it's going to be so horribly written, since he's not going to have anything to do with it, that it might be another 10 years before we get another Batman film.
I hope you eat crow for everything that you're spouting right now, because then I can just say that, again, I was right and you were wrong.
Yeah, well, I'm saying if he's not involved in the writing...
He's just not directing.
Yeah.
So, have fun with them apples.
Uh-huh.
We're sticking to the TV universe anyway.
Not do that.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
How about them apples?
Uh-huh.
So let's stick to the DC television universe.
Yeah. Like Steve said, at the Oculus / Cold Hard Sacrifice was great. Sacrificial Trip to the Sun I enjoyed. I thought that was really interesting. Tracks I'll probably listen to more, going forward. Rescuing Sarah from Nanda Parbat, because it's always nice having Sarah have her kind of own heroic kind of themed kind of thing. Track 16, Tale of Oedipus, Rex, and / the Hunters are coming. I think that one is funny, because when they pull out the Hunters card, the only thing I can think of is the Judge Hunters from Judge Dredd.
I think of like Raven the Hunter and all that, the Huntress and all that.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So DC's Legends of Tomorrow Season 1 score from Blake Neely and LALA Land Records. Absolutely love it. Steve, final thoughts?
Even if the show wasn't all that stellar for the first season, the soundtrack definitely was.
Mm-hmm.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of the show was the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Doug? Final thoughts?
Basically, as Steve said, soundtrack is killer. I really am digging it. It's, the show is better than I expected it to be. The music is great. I want to keep watching. Bottom line.
Awesome. Yeah, same here. I've been watching season 2 since it started. Actually, I tweeted Blake Neely after I think the first or second episode, because I think it's in the very first episode when it's either the first episode or the second one where they face off and they have this giant battle between the Legion and it's between the Justice Society and our Legends, and this battle has some of the best heroic music in it, and I hope I actually tweeted at him and I said, I hope that part of the thing is going to be on the season 2 score. He's like, oh yeah, most definitely. So very cool, very cool. And we're going to take a quick break, and Steve and I are going to come back for Arrow Season 4 after this. Alright folks, we are back, and what you just heard is one of the tracks from Arrow Season 4, composed by Blake Neely. As everyone knows, Arrow starring Stephen Amell, Katie Cassidy, David Ramsey, and Willa Holland. Acclaimed composer Blake Neely, who has also done Blind Spot, Supergirl, The Flash, DC Legends of Tomorrow, once again captures all the drama and action that are hallmarks of the continued adventures of the famed hooded vigilante. Neely selected and assembled and produced this dynamic collection of Season 4's most exciting musical moments, produced by the composer, mastered by Stephen Marsh, and heroically art designed by Dan Goldwasser. This is a special release, includes a brief personal note from the composer, limited to 3,000 units, and is a must for DC CW fans and all TV movie music enthusiasts. Dun dun dun! So this one comes in at 23 tracks with a total album time of 77 minutes and 9 seconds. Now, you said a moment ago that you had not gone back and watched Season 1 of DC's Legends of Tomorrow at all since the original season premiered. I have not gone back and watched Arrow Season 4.
I actively avoid it.
Oh... And it really has nothing to do with the music. The music is wonderful and great and amazing. I absolutely love Blake Neely's score for Arrow. But I prefer his other scores for the other shows more. If I was going to rank the CW shows just on the music alone, Supergirl, Flash, Legends, and then Arrow. Arrow would be like, I love Arrow, I do, because it's a darker tonal music kind of thing. But the problem with Arrow, and we've mentioned this over on Altered Geek, we've mentioned this other places, Season 1, Season 2 were excellent when it came to the writing and the stories that they told and the evolution of it. Season 3 was all about Batman and Ra's and all that. Season 4 was about, the love of Olicity, or however the hell the ship name is for Oliver and Felicity. Season 5 is coming back to kind of like Season 1, Season 1, Season 2 standards, but when it comes to storytelling, going through, I had the same problem you had remembering certain episodes for this one. Like you said, forgot where moments were for Legends. I forgot some of the moments for Season 4. Like, obviously, the last track here, Not Black and White, the one right before that, Dark Showdown. Like, I remember that because it's close to the end of the season, going into Season 5. I think my favorite track is the longest track on this, which is track 20, which is Canary Flies. Canary Flies Away. It comes in at just over 7 minutes. I was not expecting a 7-minute track on a DC CW superhero show. Other tracks I enjoy on this one, Ghost Takedown, track 12, that's interesting. I love the tones in that. I love how dark it is at times. I love how emotionally charged and heartfelt track 14 is, which is Oliver Meets William, so it's Oliver meeting his son. Facing Anarchy was an interesting track as well. What are some of the ones that you liked off of this one?
Some of the ones I liked was Might Know Someone Who Can Help, which has kind of like the jungly theme to it a little bit.
Right.
And then it gets kind of a techno thing later, which is pretty cool. I think it's when they meet... I can't remember her name in the show, but she's got the totem.
Oh, that's... it's Vixen.
Yeah, that era's Vixen anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then... the one with his son is definitely very charged, although it makes you wonder if he'll ever see him again in the show, but
who knows? With all this time travel they've been doing, maybe William will turn into Wilhelmina. He'll become a girl. Who knows?
Shut your face.
I'm just saying.
Your jokes never come true, thankfully. So,
I'm just saying they changed John's daughter to a son, so I'm pretty sure they can change Oliver's son to a daughter.
It'll be a dog. It'll be the green. It'll be a bird. The green sparrow. You
did not just say that.
I did. It'll be the Sparrow Cave.
Stop.
They'll actually get the quiver.
Quit while you're ahead. God.
I think my perception's a little bowed. But
damn it.
One of my favorite tracks is Green Arrow, and that's because it goes into the part of the theme, but it's also like the building up of like everything that's transpired.
Yeah.
The code names, I like the because it's when it's kind of got that nice fight jungle beat type thing going on. As they're kind of getting into their, because I mean it's to do with all their costumes and everything else, so it's kind of cool. The Resurrected and Infected, which is pretty cool. That's I believe when they resurrect Sarah.
Yep.
So yeah, that's awesome. But I mean, the tracks are definitely a lot better than the episodes were. I mean, the season wasn't like horrid, but it wasn't like as good as this season.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Yeah, I mean, the music has always been excellent for Arrow. Like I said, I like that we're not really relying on Raish. They actually came up with a villain, or again, I don't remember off the top of my head if Damian is from the comics. I don't think he is. I think they created him for this show, but I could be wrong.
Damian Dark?
Yeah.
No, he was from the comics.
Okay, well, there you go. But what I'm saying is, like, instead of having to rely on a Batman villain, they can bring in one of their own and work him in. And that's one of the reasons why I said earlier when we were talking about Legends, why I like the fact that Hay and Eobard and Malcolm are teaming up on Legends, because it gives those characters even more to do, even though we know that in the current present day of 2017 that Eobard's dead, Dark is dead, and Malcolm is God knows who, or God knows where.
Malcolm actually is from the present. He was abducted, and he floats around.
Yeah.
So, because that's why he's like, I know what happened to you. In that time period, and he's like, yeah, you're dead. He's like, you were like an ant underneath their feet as they killed you.
Yep.
So
pretty much. But Arrow season 4, absolutely love the music. I think it's very, very well done. So I think that's going to do it for us here on the La La Land Lounge. It's kind of been a quick episode this time around. Next time, I don't know what's coming in episode 9. I did want to do a 30th anniversary for Lethal Weapon, seeing as how La La Land Records a few years ago put out the 8-disc box set for all 4 films. And I've got that music, so I wanted to celebrate Lethal Weapon's 30th anniversary this year, but I'm not exactly sure. It's either going to be that or it may be Blind Spot Season 1, which is also done by Blake Neely. So who knows what's coming up in the La La Land Lounge, folks. Anything you want to pimp out before we get out of here?
Nope.
All right, you can follow us on Twitter at GeekCast Radio for all the other network updates. I am at TFU and Mike. What is your Twitter?
At SCP-21.
You can also follow Doug. It's at Sprzout, SPRZOUT. He really needs to change that. Anyway, head on over to LalaLandRecords.com where soundtracks live, and we will catch you next time.